Councillors, can I ask you to take your seats, please? Thank you. Councillors, can I have your attention, please? Welcome to this meeting of the Town Planning Committee, and I declare the meeting now open. We will commence the meeting with the following reflection. I would ask those gathered to join us now for a few moments of silence as we reflect on our roles in this chamber. Please use this opportunity for reflection, prayer or thought to focus on our shared intention to work respectfully together for the well-being of our whole community. Thank you. The Cardinia Shire Council respectfully acknowledges that we are on the traditional land of the Bunurong and the Wurundjeri people and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Councillors, are there any declarations of interest on tonight's agenda?
Sorry, Mayor. Yeah, I do, Mayor. Thank you. Wish to declare I've got an interest in item 5.5, planning matters dealt with officers under delegated authority. As my father owns a property adjacent to one of those applications and he lodged an objection. So I just want to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen, for advising. Okay, the items on today's agenda are item 5.1, T220205 PA, use of land for a place of assembly at Lot 2, Manx Road, Cooey-Rupp. I will advise now that this application has been withdrawn and will not be decided tonight. We'll move on to item 5.2, T220221, use and development of land for a contractor's depot at 2057 Mile Road, Narnagoon. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Moore, are you moving the officer's recommendation?
Well enough. I'll move the officer's recommendation. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Can I ask for a seconder, please? Councillor Davies, thank you. I'll go to the mover to speak, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The report is as written. I've got no changes to the report. I'd just like to make a couple of small comments, if I may. This is a contractor's depot in a greenweed area, in a green zone, and it's illegal in its operation. There's only one objection to this, which is a local neighbour who's in the agricultural area in the industry. It's been stated there's no other suitable areas for this to operate, and I believe there is in our industrial areas of Cardinia Shire. It could be leased, it could be possibly bought to operate this business from the appropriate area, not in our greenweed zones. We are checking other properties that have been noted of similar in the area. We're checking to see whether they have the relevant permits, but I know personally they are in Narnagoon and they've been there for 40 plus years operating out of those operations. So this business has been there only for the past 3 years, and so it's not in the same league as the others. This is not just for storing vehicles. This is actually for storing soils and site spores as well, from sites as well, because this contractor is a site clearing business, and it's been mentioned before that it's a small family business, and I would disagree. It employs 25 employees on the property, has 25 trucks, 25 semi-trailers and 10 excavators on 2 hectares of land out of the large holding that it has. So that's a hard surface where these vehicles are being stored. So hence my reason for the agreements with the planning department in their assessment of this property for a refusal of because it's inappropriate of that site. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. I'll now go to the seconder to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. May I reserve my right to speak?
Thank you, Councillor Davies. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak on this item? As there is no one, I'll go back to the seconder.
Thank you, Mayor Radford, and thank you, Councillor Moore, for withdrawing the item. I want to acknowledge that the landowner did write to myself and I believe other councillors over the weekend, and I have given this matter some thought. I don't like to refuse permits, especially when one's a retrospective permit. It's a business that's been on operation, and the company do operate with a fair degree of success. 25 local workers and wonderful local services. The landowner, as well as running this successful local business, is a appreciated community volunteer too, and that. Whilst that doesn't influence the decision, it does make it a little bit harder emotionally because we love our local businesses and we love our community volunteers. However, this matter is being refused on the grounds of the land zoning. And noting that there are difficulties because this is a retrospective permit, the landowner won't be shut down tomorrow. There is a process that will follow, but the land use does need to change there. There is specific zoning, green wedge zoning and agriculture in the local planning policy framework that does support this. So to the landowner, I know this is contentious and I do want to give my assurance that council is here to still work with you, whether that's our economic development team might be able to suggest some other sites available within the Shire where you may be able to build a depot or with our regulatory team, you're not going to be shut down tomorrow morning. There is a process involved in vacating this green wedge land. In short, Mayor, I want to explain my vote and my position tonight, which is to vote in accordance with the landowner's recommendations and with the council officer recommendations. And I do want to acknowledge the difficulty to the landowners and our local businesses. And thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. I will now go to the mover to summarise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Davies, for the second, and your comments have been noted. I have nothing further to add, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. We will now put this to a vote. All those in favour of the officer's recommendation? All those against? I declare that carried. Thank you. Our next item is item 5.3 T220197 PA, Buildings and Works, construction of a shed at 99 Split Rock Road, Beaconsfield Upper. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Owen, are you moving the officer's recommendation?
Yes, Mayor, I'm moving the officer's recommendation for refusal. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I please ask for a seconder? Councillor Davies, thank you. I'll now go to the mover to speak. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Approval is sought for buildings and works associated with a shed. The shed is proposed to be located off the existing driveway, 25.9 metres off the eastern boundary and 124 metres off the southern boundary. The shed is proposed to be 12 metres wide on the east and west sides and 14 metres long along the north and south sides. The north side fronting the existing driveway, it is to have 3 roller doors. A swinging access door is to be located on the west side. So the proposed shed is to have a wall height of 3.7 metres and a height of 4.2 metres to the bottom of the bump out and 4.98 metres to the top of the bump out wall and a total height of 6.2 metres. So I do note that there was no objections, and that's really important to note. I did meet with the applicant, I think last Thursday, I believe, And again, I visited the site myself again this morning. We received correspondence from the applicant also. I think all councillors have received correspondence over the weekend. So this is a very difficult decision, for me as one of the councillors. So the primary concern surrounds building design and location. And the report does extensively explains the reasons for refusal. The proposal does not comply with the relevant policies. It does not respect the rural character of the area, this part of Upper Beaconsfield, which is a beautiful area, being placed in an exposed location, interrupting a prominent view line and detracting from the scenic value of the landscape. In relation to the design and siting issues, the shed has been sited in a particular sensitive location upon the ridgeline and clearly visible from both stretches of Split Rock Road to the east and south. It is a very prominent corner along Split Rock here. It is actually the location of the Split Rock, which is quite iconic for Upper Beaconsfield. So it's around a corner that that people slow down to obviously navigate the corner, but also it's quite a visible location. So it does appear to be exposed with not enough vegetation obscuring from the road. Additionally, it will be placed within the view line from the east. This will be discussed obviously in the ESO, which I'll talk about now. The Environment Significance Overlay Schedule 1. So this is really important, to Upper Beaconsfield, and I suppose our planning documents for our Shire really tries to protect the unique environment of Upper Beaconsfield, and that's the importance of this environmental significance overlay. So the intention of this overlay is to protect and enhance the significant environmental landscape values in the Northern Hills area, including the retention and enhancement of Indigenous vegetation, to ensure that the siting and design of buildings and works does not adversely impact on environmental values of the diverse and interesting landscape of this area. Also to ensure that the siting and design of buildings and works addresses environmental hazards, including slope, erosion and risk. But what is most concerning is the chosen site above the ridge line. And I do appreciate the applicant has tried to explain to councillors and officers the reason for the siting that they've chosen. And I understand there's valid reasons, for instance, water supply for the property, whether it's for fire prevention purposes, but I can't sort of, put that ahead of the main intention of the protection of these areas of Upper Beak in relation to the environment significance overlay. So I think it is really important. We have these underlying documents to protect the environment, to help guide council in these sort of decisions. If we don't listen to them, don't reflect on them when we're making our decisions, you question why you have them in the first place. So it has been a hard decision for me. The applicant is in the gallery and I appreciate that they really would like this shed at this location, but I think there's strong planning principles and rules that council needs to adhere to because there could be precedent issues if we approve this. So I move the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. I'll now go to the seconder to speak, please.
Thank you, Mayor Radford. I would also like to acknowledge the correspondence from the landowner and applicant, and also acknowledge that Councillor Owen, who is the ward councillor, independently investigated this matter, included visiting the site. I really don't like to reject planning applications, in particular when owners are engaged and do appear to be trying to develop their land in good faith. But the planning scheme is complex and there are protections that we need to follow. So I will vote in support of the council officer's recommendations and echo Councillor Owen's comments regarding the environmental overlays in the Cardinia planning scheme, the impact on humanity. Split Rock is a prominent and unique location, and whilst the location of the shed would be viewable from the view line in the east, that's a trigger that I don't feel omitting from considerations would be the correct decision for myself to vote in tonight. So thank you for the opportunity, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. I'll now ask if there are any other councillors. Go to Councillor Moore. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'll also support my fellow councillor, Councillor Owen, on this particular item. Look, I had a lot of trouble with this article too. This application, I sympathise with Councillor Owen in this circumstance because it's a difficult one. The hardest part to understand, if you look at the report, you look at it and you go, there's a shed that's 6.1 or 6.2 metres high. That's a big shed, but it is a barn. It's an American-shaped barn, and it's not horrifically sized as you may think. It's short at the sides and it's very high at the top point where the sort of loft area of an American barn is. So it's not so significantly big that people may imagine. But the colour being slate grey or woodlands grey, I think it is, the proposal, I think the applicant's gone to a lot of trouble to try and achieve the best result outcome that they got for themselves, and particularly for the planners as well. They have listened, but of course there's an existing concrete tank, I believe, that holds a water storage that comes from the dam there that used to be the original owners, or the owners before them, used to pump water out of the dam into the concrete tank and use it on their garden. And I think the object of this, as well as being storage for their horse floats and machinery, to collect water as a water source back into that concrete tank, to gravity feed it back into the house. And I think the scheme's great. Everything to look at. I actually visited the site today and had a look at the site myself today, so I can understand all of that. But look, procedure's procedure, and when we talk down about the siting of this shed, I don't think they can really put it anywhere else but there. But it doesn't suit the topography of the land and where you'll see it from off Split Rock Road, which you're on the bend. So unfortunately, it's a fine line. So there's not a big difference here. It's a fine line, but a line's a line. You've got to cross it somewhere. You've got to stay on one side or the other, and I'll stay with the refusal on this, unfortunately. But good luck. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? I see none, so I'll go back to the mover to sum up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to the other councillors. I think the decision is supportive of the intention of the Upper Beaconsfield Township strategy as well. It talks about protection of ridge lines and exactly what the environmental significance overlay is all about. So this decision tonight does support the Upper Beaconsfield Township strategy intentions, and that's important to note as well. But that's all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll now put this to a vote. All those in favour? Any against? Then I'll declare this carried. Thank you. So we will now move to item 5.4, Planning Matters VCAT Report. May I have a mover, please, Councillor Kowalczyk?
Thank you, Mayor Radford. I move the officer's recommendation that we note the report.
Thank you. Can I please ask for a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Thank you. I'll go back to the mover. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Radford. Thank you, Councillor Cameron, for your second. I move that Council note the Planning Matters VCAT report. I just want to take the report as read. The list attached that's contained within is presented to keep Council and the community informed of applications that are currently the subject of appeals, proceedings and recent decisions by VCAT. 3 recently lodged applications are listed, 2 for failure to decide, and 1 was appealed by an objector. There are also 6 matters that are listed that are currently the subject of an appeal that are either awaiting hearing or still to be determined. So I trust that keeps the council informed of matters currently at VCAT. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk. I'll now go to the seconder to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? Councillor Owen.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to acknowledge, obviously, there was a hearing held last week, or just over a week ago, the 13 to 15 Marne Avenue in Beaconsfield. So that went to VCAT for a 3-day hearing. So we're just waiting for the outcome of that. That got a lot of response in Beaconsfield. So I look forward to that. That's an application for a 31 dwelling development in Marne Avenue. So I look forward to that response outcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? Nope, I'll go back to the mover to sum up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Radford. The purpose of presenting this report to council and the community is simply for noting, so I trust we've done that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kowaczyk. So we'll now put this to vote. All those in favour? Against? I declare that carried. Thank you. We're now on to item 5.5, planning matters dealt with by officers under delegated authority. I'll now ask Councillor Owen to leave the chambers. Thank you. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Springfield.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the officer's recommendation that council notes the report.
Thank you. Can I please ask for a seconder? Councillor Moore. Thank you. I'll go back to the mover to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. And for those that are tuning in attentively, this is something that we don't often bring this forward for discussion at our town planning meetings, but I think it's a good opportunity to discuss. So, you know, when it comes to planning matters, there's a threshold of some things which come to a council meeting, a certain type of parameters that will automatically come to a council meeting for decision. And there's a number of issues, planning applications that may be dealt with under delegation by officers. So this report, simply, it's no decision on if they proceed or not. It's just highlighting it's a report on the decisions made in the last month or so by planning officers under delegation. So I just like to move that we note the report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Springfield. I'll now go to the seconder, Councillor Moore, to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. It's just an honour to second my fellow councillor. I've got nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Are there any other councillors who would like to speak? I see none, so I'll go back to the mover to sum up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll now put this to a vote. All those in favour? Against? I declare that carried. I will now ask Councillor Owen to come back into the room. Thank you. Thank you. We're now up to item 5.6, Planning Scheme Amendment Activity Report. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Davies.
Thank you, Mayor. May I move that council notes the report?
Thank you. Can I please ask for a seconder? Councillor Owen, thank you. I'll go to the mover to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Radford. Item 5.6, the Planning Scheme Amendment Activity Report, lists the potential changes to Cardinia's planning scheme. And this report provides an update on the status of all the active planning scheme amendments. It also includes planning scheme amendment requests received. So some of these are council initiated and some of these are from our local community. A planning scheme amendment is very significant in the fact that it will legally alter the planning scheme, Cardinia's planning scheme, and formally do that. There are several active amendments in place. The most significant to me is the Pakenham South Employment Precinct, which is amendment number C265. And this was a council led amendment and it was adopted by council in 2021. The current status of this is that the infrastructure contributions plan is still being prepared, and council officers are currently having the documentation being reviewed by an independent expert. So I would like to acknowledge their efforts on this. This is going to be a key employment area in our Shire, and our generations to come will all benefit from it. There's some fantastic proactive planning work that went into that, and I look forward to hearing at a council briefing soon that the ICP, the infrastructure contributions plan, has progressed, and look forward to the content. So thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. I'll now go to the seconder to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Davies. Just in relation to Amendment C238, which is the Beaconsfield Precinct, Glisman Road and Old Princess Highway in Beaconsfield. Obviously, when this report was written, it was before the latest information was released. So it was lodged with DELWP for approval by the Minister of Planning as of the 19th of May. But recently, councillors received an update from council planners that the amendment was gazetted and therefore approved by the Minister on Friday, the 18th of November. So where do we go from here? This has been a massive train of work for probably 5 to 10 years to get to this point. So where from here? Council will obviously update its website. All affected landowners and submitters will be advised of the gazettal of the amendment, and work will now commence on the preparation of the project brief for the preparation of the development plan, which is $70,000 allocated in the DCP and will be circulated. So that's it's good to see that this process has got to the point where it's been approved by the Minister. I acknowledge, obviously, it's been quite stressful time for a number of the landowners, and I acknowledge the great work of council officers in this space, because it has been a long time, but it's now finally gazetted. People have got certainty regarding their property, what they want to do, whether they want to stay or sell up and leave. But that's definitely something people have been wanting for a long, long time, that certainty. So I just wanted to note that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. I'll now ask if there are any other councillors who would like to speak to this item. Nope, I'll go back to the mover to sum up, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Owen, for your second and the feedback about the Beaconsfield constituents. I'd like to summarise that this report is an update on the status of the active planning scheme amendments and the requests that we've received, and that it is in the interests of accountability and transparency in our leadership that we as a council do note this, and that councillors do take notice of active amendments, and that we continue to have internal discussions and represent our residents with the staff as this work progresses, whilst no decision is being made other than noting. So in summary, I'd like to thank the staff, Ms Rosick and Mr Connell, for their work developing the report and the team's work on this, and I seek councillors' vote of support to note the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Davies. We'll now put this to a vote. All those in favour? Against? I declare that carried. Thank you. So that concludes tonight's Town Planning Committee meeting. I'd like to thank all councillors for their participation, for those who have attended in the gallery and those who have watched online. I now declare the meeting closed. Thank you.